Fixing the crown while the lights getting dim. Texas to NOLA, we bringing that heat. Culture and faith and that soul on the beat. Life is a game, yeah, I'm playing for keeps. Life is a game, yeah, I'm playing for keeps. Bold with the talk while the city still sleeps. No fake opinions, just real in the booth. I am the rhythm, just real in the booth. I am the rhythm, the vibe, and the truth. Fix that crown, let them know who the queen. Hey, fix that crown, most valuable team. From the court to the streets, keep it real, keep it bold. Writing the history in silver and gold. KGJA, crowns and
Imagine being sound asleep and suddenly you hear your child scream. You run into the room. Their eyes are open. They look terrified. Their heart is racing. You call their name, but it feels like they really don't even know you're there. Then morning comes and your child doesn't remember any of it, but you do. Tonight, we're talking about childhood night terrors, but we're also asking a question nobody asks enough. Who supports the mother who stays awake after the child goes back to sleep? Welcome to KGJA Crowns and Conversations, where we have real talk, offer real help, and hold on to real hope. Tonight's conversation could help a family, so share this live. Hey, y'all, this is Kim. I'm your host. Make sure you share this live if you know anyone that may be struggling with this. So the question of the night is, has your child ever screamed in their sleep? Yes or no? As you come in, please say hello. Let me know you're here and you can hear me okay. So we're going to go into what is a night terror for those that do not know. What is a night terror? So first, a night terror is not the same thing as a nightmare. Okay? With a nightmare, a child usually wakes up and may remember the frightening dream. During a night terror, a child may scream, cry, sweat, breathe rapidly, sit up, move around, or look terrified while still not fully awake. They may be difficult to comfort and often don't remember what happened the next morning. And that is what can be so frightening for a parent. You are awake and experiencing it while your child may still initially be asleep. Night terrors commonly occur during deeper sleep and are especially common in children. So before tonight, did you know the difference between a nightmare and night terror? Yes, no, or are you still learning? We're going to give the clinical definition of what night terrors is as well for all of you that is not aware of what night terrors is. They are very common, especially with the state of the world today. And I'm going to tell you what the Mayo Clinic says night terrors is, and you guys chime in if you are not aware or you knew what night terrors is. And guys, let me tell you something before I go into this definition. If you know a parent or parents that is dealing with a child or children that is dealing with night terrors, you want to be as supportive to that parent as you possibly can. Ask them, can you help them watch the child while they get some sleep? Because more likely than not, they are sleep deprived. There's no way around it. They're going to be sleep deprived, probably exhausted. They're going to be not able to focus, because dealing with a child or children with night terrors can cause the parent to have some mental health issues. some physical issues as well. So if you know someone that is dealing with night terrors, guys, please make sure you're supportive. Hello, Shay sis. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, Dakota, my sister. Thank you guys for joining and supporting. For y'all that don't know, night terrors is very dear to my heart. There are no really support groups for night terrors. Parents don't really know what it is or what to call it. Most doctors are not trained to handle children, especially if they're small children, with night terrors. So the Mayo Clinic says that night terrors are a sleep disorder in which a person quickly awakens from sleep in a terrified state. The cause is unknown, but night terrors are often triggered by fever, a lack of sleep, or periods of emotional tension, stress, or conflict. Night terrors are like nightmares, except the nightmares usually occur during rapid eye movement, short for REM. Sleep and are most common in early morning. Night terrors usually happen in the first half of the night, usually, but not always. Okay. Night terrors are most common in pre-adolescent boys, though they are fairly common in children 3 to 5 years old. I disagree with that. It now is more common in girls and boys, and it happens when they're much older. So, for an example, if they exhibit night terrors when they're 3 to 5 years old, it's more likely that they are going to continue to exhibit and have night terrors as they become in their pre-adolescent stages. So the following common characteristics of night terrors. Hello, Dequata. Thank you so much for joining. Is sudden awakening from sleep. Persistent fear or terror that occurs at night. Screaming, sweating, confusion, rapid heart rate. No recall of bad dreams or nightmares. Unable to fully awake. Difficult to comfort. We're going to get into how to help children with night terrors as we go along. But let's talk about what to do when the screaming starts. That's the most overwhelming part with a child or children dealing with night terrors. What can a parent do? When your child is screaming, your instinct may be to shake them awake. But this is where the information matters, parents. Focus on safety first. Stay nearby. Keep the environment safe, especially if your child moves around. Don't forcefully try to wake them. Observe what is happening and how long it lasts, and start documenting patterns. This is important, parents. You must start documenting what they do when they're asleep, how they react when they're asleep, what are the time frames, and all of that is important when you go get them treatment. As I said, you want to know what time, how long did it last, what did the child do, how often is it happening. That is very important. You cannot control what you don't understand, but information can turn a panic into a plan. So don't panic. Do not panic. I know it's going to frighten you because our basic instincts as parents is when your child is screaming, you going to go into mama bear or father bear mode and try to see is someone harming your child, is they hurt, what's going on. So you're going to jump up in a panic. You can't do that because if they wake up, it's going to cause them to be scared as well. So you have to be in control in order to calm and soothe them. And let me tell you, parents, it's not easy. You're going to have to take some classes as well in order to be able to regulate your emotions, in order to be able to deal with them. It's a behavior cognitive training for children that has mental health illnesses as well as night terrors. You're going to have to learn how to deal with them because, as I've stated before, it can and will get very, very stressful. So, safety and addressing possible triggers are central parts of managing sleep terrors. Medical evaluation may be needed when episodes create safety risks or significant sleep disruption. So, how many of you guys know that is tuned in a child that may be exhibiting all of these things that I have gave the characteristics of night terrors and the difference between night terrors and nightmares, and you didn't know what it was? Put your answers in the comments and let me know. Now, we need to talk about the person sitting on the other side of that bedroom door. We need to talk about the overwhelmed mother, the overwhelmed father, the overwhelmed grandmother, auntie, the woman caregiver who may be carrying the nightmare responsibility while still expected to function the next morning. Everybody asks, is this child okay? But who asks her, are you okay? Sometimes supporting a child means supporting the person who is carrying that child through difficult nights. Support is not saying you're the mother, you can handle it, or you the father. Support is saying, I'll take a shift. Go get you some rest. I'll help you document what's happening. I'll go to the appointment with you. I don't have to carry this. You don't have to carry this alone. Now, imagine having a child. I want to talk to everyone out there listening hard for a minute. Imagine having a child that is exhibiting every description of night terrors. Imagine dealing with a child and the mother or the father has no support system. He or she don't have anyone asking, can I pull a shift for you? Can I help document with you? Can I help take the child to the doctor with you? How are you holding up? Imagine just for a moment how overwhelming that can be for a mother or a father that may be dealing with a child or children with this condition. Imagine a single parent that still has to get up every day and work or go to school to provide a roof over their head and pay bills. Could you imagine the devastation in that parent with no support? Could you imagine the frustration of that parent when they don't have the resources available to take care of their child? Nothing he or she does seems to work. Because as parents, our nature is to provide. As parents, we want to fix whatever is broken in the inside of our children. But with something like night terrors, it's hard, especially when you don't even know what it is to begin with. So ask yourself, if you was that parent and you had no village, you had no support system, how would you be able to go through that? Will it be easy? Will it be hard? Mothers and caregivers, what kind of support do you wish someone would offer you? So if you are a caregiver to a child with night terrors, what kind of support do you wish you would have? As a mother that directly deals with this, I wish I had a village. And when I say that, I have a support system, I have family, more friends, but my daughter has a father. I need him to say, let me take a shift. Let me write things down. Let me help you so that you can get some sleep. Because again, being a single parent and dealing with a child that some days are so afraid to go to sleep, they won't even sleep. It's hard. So, Dequata, Shay, or Dakota, how would you handle a child? And anybody else that's watching, you can chime in. How would you handle a child that had night terrors? You had no support system. The support out there is limited. There's really no groups to kind of share your experience. How would you guys handle dealing with a child with night terrors? How would you guys deal with it? I was supposed to tell somebody I was live, yeah. How would you guys deal with it? See, a lot of us parents are programmed to get the job done, regardless of what you have or what you may be going through. A lot of us are fighting some silent battles, whether it's silent battles with us, silent battles with our children. A lot of us are fighting silent battles. So, hello, Joshua. The question is, Josh, how would you deal with a child that has night terrors? What would you do if you were a parent of a child that is suffering from night terrors? The first beginning of the show, I differentiated the difference between night terrors and nightmares. They are similar but not the same. I also gave a description of what night terrors are. So, I want you guys to think about a child with night terrors or children with night terrors. And then I want you guys to open up your heart and your mind to a child that also has sleepwalking. They sleepwalk as well. So not only are they dealing with being frightened to even sleep, it's very hard to wake them up. And then they sleepwalk as well to get away from whatever is tormenting them in their dreams. All right, let me get to some of y'all comments. Dakota says you support a child with night terrors mainly by keeping them safe, not waking them up during an episode, working on good calming sleep routines and stress reduction during the day. Great. That's great. When you're dealing with a child with night terrors, I also want to add for the parents out there that is watching or will come across this live, you want to have a certain time where you cut off anything stimulating. You want to create a schedule where at a certain time they're not allowed to be on their tablets, TV, and the worst thing that you guys can do, I mean the absolute worst, is allow them to watch scary movies. They are not to watch anything scary. That is like poison to them. You cannot expose them. If it's in your control, because some things we can't control. But in your control, you absolutely cannot allow that child to be exposed to trauma. Because what trauma does is causes the night terrors to be amplified. So if it's in your control, do not expose that child to trauma. Routine is key. You need to have a time where they go to bed. You need to have a time when they take their shower, of course, before bed, their prayers, when they're in bed. Routine is key. Overstimulation is not your friend. Do not overstimulate them. What I mean by that is too much stuff exciting, something that may have scared them, something that may have frightened them. They can't go to no haunted houses. Anything that is going to cause them to be afraid, you don't want to expose them to that. Because remember, they're already afraid enough to sleep. Zaqueta said, I already do deal with when it's your child, you don't think about it. When it comes to your children, we just do till we can't no more. Then we keep pushing. Absolutely. If you're a good parent, that's what you're going to do. You're going to make it happen by any means necessary. You're going to push through. You're going to make it happen. But that doesn't mean on making it happen or you making it happen the right way where to benefit both you and your child. Because when we get overwhelmed, we'll keep going until we crash out. Now, is that the most healthy way to do things when you have a child that's dealing with either night terrors or mental health issues? No. So you have to take care of you. And that is one of the things that this live is about. Helping parents and caregivers learn the best way to handle a child and also to recognize whether a child may be dealing with night terrors. Okay, Josh said I probably would utilize bells and night lights, maybe rain sounds, things that keep you sleeping through the night. That's a good thing sometimes, but you have to remember sometimes them going to sleep is the problem because they're terrorized in their sleep. So getting them to sleep sometimes is the problem. The night lights is a good example because it will help them to feel more comfortable with going to sleep. But getting to sleep is sometimes the issue. They will stay up all night just to prevent from going to sleep and being scared. They have insomnia, and you are trying to battle the insomnia and you about to crash and burn. Because when you get to a certain age, I'm 44 years old, you get to a certain age, and anybody out there that's crossing over to the 40s, sleep is not optional, it's mandatory. Because if you don't sleep, your body gonna tell you, hello, if you don't go to sleep, I'm gonna make you sleep. And you start having health issues and all kind of stuff start going wrong. Sleep is your best asset as you start getting to a certain age. You cannot stay up all night and not get no sleep. So just imagine a parent that's a certain age and dealing with a child that's having these issues. And please don't let you have a job that's not understanding. You're going to get fired. You're going to get canned. Because sometimes you're going to be too tired where you can't even show up to do your job. So, support your village is important. So, let me ask you guys some questions. Is this going to be myth or fact? I'm going to ask you guys a few questions to see what do you know about the subject we're talking about. Night terrors and nightmares are the same thing. Is that myth or fact? Night terrors and nightmares are the same thing. Is that a myth or a fact? A lot of people think this. Is night terrors and nightmares the same thing? That is a myth, guys. Night terrors and nightmares, although they resemble some of the same characteristics, it is not the same. Great job. Y'all said myth. It is a myth. Nightmares and night terrors is totally different things. With the nightmares, they don't usually have sleepwalking along with it. Is this a myth or a fact? A child may have their eyes open but not be fully awake. Is that a fact or a myth when dealing with a child with night terrors? That is a fact. A child that deals with nightmares, I just said it, does not usually sleepwalk. That is what sleepwalking is. Their eyes can be wide awake and they are in a sleep state. They are not awake. Although they appear awake, they are not awake. So that is a fact. Joshua got it right. That is a fact, as well as Dakota. That is a fact. Which makes it very, very dangerous. And before I go on to the next question, I want to also give some pointers for a child that is exhibiting those characteristics with night terrors. You absolutely want to do two things that's very key and important in order to help the children or child. You don't want to leave anything sharp, anything dangerous around that they can harm themselves or someone else. Because remember, they are in fear of something that's terrorizing them in their sleep. So when they are sleepwalking, they are in fear. And when you're in fear, our normal instincts is to protect ourselves. So they're going to grab something or have something that they feel like they are protecting themselves from. Okay. Also, if you are able to, you're going to need to get, as Joshua made a point, a bell, a siren, an alarm on all windows and doors. If you have an alarm system, you want to set your alarm system volume sky high, where it tells you if the door is opening, it tells you if the window is opening, it tells you what door. For an example, I have ADT. My alarm system tells me back door open, front door open, bedroom number 2, window open. It also tells me if I have shock, like if someone is banging on the door or hit the door too hard, it says front door shock, back door shock. You want to have those notifications as loud as you can. So if you fall asleep, because you're going to be tired. So you're going to eventually have to zone out yourself. You want that notification to be so loud, it automatically alerts you. Joshua, you're absolutely correct. You want to have cameras everywhere with motion sensors on them, where it notifies you what room, movement, lights come on as well. You want to have motion sensor lights that come on as well. You almost want to have your home set up like Inspector Gadget. And I'm not even being funny. I'm keeping it 100 with you guys. I'm not telling you something I heard. I'm telling you something from experience. That is very important to be able to protect your safety as well as your child's safety and prevent them from going outside and maybe walking into some water, getting hit by a car, getting kidnapped, whatever the most unbearable thinkable things that can happen if your child wanders off sleepwalking. Because even in sleepwalking, it's very hard to wake them up. It's very hard to get them to come out of that state of mind. So you want to do whatever you can to prevent them from going somewhere out of the safety of their home. So this is a must do for parents. The moment you take your baby to the doctor and they get diagnosed with night terrors, you got to start preparing your home for this. You need to get cameras, as I stated. Also, you want to make sure you have a lock. Double locks will allow you time to get to the child in the event one of your cameras sensor detects movement. You don't want just a regular lock where they can twist it and be out of there. You want several locks to prevent them and to slow them down, to give you some time. Go get you like several sliding locks. And if they're smaller children, get the locks up high enough where they can't reach them. that is crucial in protecting these babies from themselves and protecting you from waking up and your child is gone and God forbid something happens to them. Those three things I just mentioned is a must do for any parent, any caregiver with a child that's dealing with night terrors. Okay? So, another question on the myth or fact. A child will always remember a night terror the next morning. Is that a myth or a fact? They will always remember the night terror the next morning. Myth or a fact? Myth or a fact? That is a myth. They don't even realize they have had a night terror episode. They have no idea. And if you try to explain it to them, if you say, hey, you acted such and such, you did such and such, they're not going to have any recollection of what you're talking about. Even if they hurt themselves during a night terror episode, they're going to ask you what happened to them. How did they get this bruise or how did this happen? They're not going to have any recollection of what has happened. So that definitely is a myth. They will not know. Now, the difference between a night terror and a nightmare, most people remember their nightmare. Like you might have a nightmare that somebody was chasing you or you fell off a building. How many times have you said, man, my dream I had the other night was crazy. I fell off this building or somebody was chasing me. When a child is dealing with night terrors, they're not going to remember what is actually terrorizing them or what the dream was about. Last question. Safety is important if the child moves around during an episode. Is that a fact or a myth? Safety is important if a child moves around during an episode. Safety is important if the child moves around during an episode. Is that a fact or a myth? Joshua says, I have forgot dreams and nightmares too. It's kind of a thing. Absolutely. Dreams and nightmares is something everyone has experienced maybe once or twice in their life. You have good dreams and you have bad dreams. Also, if someone passes away, a lot of times we dream about that person in our sleep. I still have very vivid dreams about my brother Carlos as well as my mother and anyone else that I was close to that has passed away. I still have very vivid dreams about that. I also have some nightmares, especially when I've watched too many horror movies. I watch way too many, so I've actually slowed down on the horror movies that I watch because I was starting to have crazy nightmares. It is, Dakota is right, it is a fact. I just stated you want to make sure you have camera systems in place, no sharp objects, nothing that they can harm you or themselves with. You want to make sure their room has less clutter as well. I want to add, you want to make sure that their sleeping environment is not real high because they do toss and turn in their sleep. You want to make sure they don't fall out the bed, crack their head open, or have a dresser too close where they may hit their head on it. So you want to make sure their sleeping environment is safe. You want to make sure they don't have too much cover on them where they'll wrap themselves up and miss and choke themselves. So you want to make sure safety is key because again, they are conscious but not conscious if that makes sense. Their eyes are open, but they have no ability to know what they're doing, and it can become very violent as well. But because again, they're trying to defend themselves from whatever is terrorizing them. So you have to make sure safety is key. So we need to talk about when should parents ask for help. This is important because see, KGJA Crowns and Conversations is about awareness. It's not diagnosing children over the internet. That is not what this is about. But if you are concerned, start with your child's pediatrician or healthcare professional. You want to seek professional guidance when episodes are frequent or worsening, create a risk injury, seriously disrupt sleep, or affect the child or family's daily life. You want to seek attention immediately. And if you are simply unsure whether what you are seeing is actually a night terror, you need to ask. That's where documentation is key. You want to start documenting what time they're having it, how they act when they having it. Do they remember the next day? All of that stuff is important when you're talking to a physician because they're going to ask you, what did they do when they were asleep? How did they act? What time? They're going to ask all of that. So, parents can start with their child's pediatrician and a trusted educational resources such as the Mayo Clinic's information on sleep terrors and NHS guidance on night terrors and nightmares. Those are great resources for you guys. So, now I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever experienced this? Everyone that's watching, that if you have children or you've dated someone with children or a niece or nephew, have you experienced this? You might have grandkids that go through this. If you experienced it, what did it look like? And if you are dealing with it, what did you do to help your family? And from all the information I've given you, what questions do you still have about it? So all of these are important questions, but because every child is different, I don't want to guess. This is why I would like to I want you to talk directly to your healthcare provider because every child is different. One child may be exhibiting night terrors and they really don't sleepwalk. Another child may have night terrors, sleepwalk, and insomnia all at the same time. They may be experiencing all three of those things. Some may just have one, some maybe have two. So you can't self-diagnose your child based on what another child may be going through because each child is different. That's why it's very important that you document what they're doing and talk to your healthcare provider immediately when you start noticing what is going on. So, tonight, somebody may hear their child scream. A mother may jump out of bed with her heart racing. A caregiver may sit in the darkness wondering what they did wrong. And maybe this conversation will remind them that they don't have to face the fear without information or support. We got to support our babies no matter what they go through. We got to definitely support the mothers and the caregivers. Because without support, we're not going to be able to help that child. We're not going to be able to have the patience that is needed to deal with the child that is going through night terrors. Because sometimes the strongest person in the house is also the most exhausted person in the house. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. You have to be the strongest, but you the most exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally. You're at your ends with. You got to be his or her village so that they can have peace. So as I said, taking a shift, asking, is it anything that you can do? Help them document. Go to the doctor with them when they're taking a child to the doctor. So, it doesn't matter how much money you got, how much education you have. It will not prepare you to deal with a child that has night terrors if you don't educate yourself and go get them some help immediately. Also, when you go seek help, all medication is not for every child. So before you allow the doctor or the pediatrician or the psychologist, whatever their profession is, to medicate your child, make sure the medication is a best fit for your child. Because although they may give them something for sleep, the pills or medication they have them on may have the child like a robot. It might help them stay to sleep, but is that best for your child? Especially if they're in school. Some of the medication leaves a hangover effect and the kids end up being zombified. Some of the medication is too strong, especially for growing children that has not reached adolescenthood yet, that messes with their liver, their kidneys, their heart. So parents, I get it. You're tired as hell and you want to rest. But is that rest worth over medicating your child to the point where the child doesn't even have a childhood anymore? Is it worth destroying their organs for some sleep? The best solution you can do is educate yourself, sleep when they sleep, make sure your household is prepared to handle a child with night terrors. Stay away from people that is not adding to the solution but becomes the problem. See, a lot of times people have something to say when it ain't them going through it. Oh, they have so much advice, but are you here when that person is barely able to sleep, barely able to comprehend, where they don't even know their own name because they so sleep deprived that they don't know whether they're coming or going? You guys ever heard of the saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, shut your mouth up? See, a parent that's going through, or parents that's dealing with a child with night terrors, they don't need nothing but help. Your opinions, where it came from, why they're dealing with it, who gave it to them, all of that doesn't matter because you're dealing with what's now. Also, ask that parent, is they okay? Because see, you don't know the psychological aspect it has on a parent that's dealing with a child with night terrors. You don't know how that is affecting them because nothing they can do to stop it. And see, our job as a parent is to protect our children. How many of you, if someone hurt your child, it's on and popping? You probably willing to go to jail. Somebody hurt your child, it's on. Well, see, imagine not being able to protect them from what's in here. Do you know the helpless feeling of a parent that can't protect their child from what's in here? So the worst thing you can do with a parent that is going through that with a child or children is to be a burden instead of a blessing. If you can't help, get on. If you're not providing no resources, get on. If you are not saying, hey, I know you've been up all night possibly with he or she, I'll be over there to allow you to get 3 or 4 hours of rest while they up, even if it's while they up. Or I know you probably be so tired. Do you need me to go to the store for you? Is it anything that I can do for you? Joshua says, keep the medicine away. Only go to that route if it's gotten so severe. I agree. Hello, protect your peace, sis. How are you? Happy Tuesday to you as well. As he said and suggested, medication is on a need basis only. Again, every child is different. What your child may need, another child may not need. But make sure you educate before you go get that prescription filled. Go look at the side effects. Go look at what it'll do to that child's body. Now, another thing I want to add, melatonin with kids with night terrors is like giving them candy. I'm going to say it one more time. Melatonin with children with night terrors, especially when they have mastered the art of staying up, just so they won't be scared. When they have mastered the art of insomnia, where they prefer to stay up from sun up to sundown, you're giving them some Skittles if you give them melatonin. Because it's not going to do anything. So if you one of them parents that say, well, maybe I can give them some melatonin, I'm telling you right now, hell to the now. Melatonin is Skittles, kibbles, and bits to them. As they get older. It might work on them when they 4 or 5 years old, but as they get older and get close to pre-adolescent, adolescent stage, you're wasting your money on melatonin. Now, you might want to pop you a few melatonins, but giving it to a child with night terrors, child, please. And again, I'm speaking from experience. So, no matter what your education is, no amount of money will be able to prevent your child from going through night terrors. No matter where you live, it ain't going to prevent your child from possibly going through night terrors. Best thing you can do for your child is to educate yourself. Patience. If you one of them parents or people that don't have much patience, you better find some. Because when they're sleep deprived, guess what's going to happen after them being sleep deprived? They're going to start having behavior issues. You can bet your dollar on that. They're not going to listen. They're not going to be attentive. And if they're in school, they're going to start having issues with paying attention in class. They may start falling asleep in class. You're going to have issues. You're going to have issues. So you're going to have to be a proactive mom or father or parents. The school nurse and school counselor, y'all need to have a great working together relationship. Because the counselor is trained to know how to deal with children like that. That way they're not calling your phone, such and such won't sit down, or such and such is asleep. They'll know how to help your child. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It happens. There's nothing you could have done to prevent it. So parents, don't blame yourself. And again, your social status, your checkbook is not going to prevent your child from experiencing night terrors or anything else that they may go through. Our job as parents is to adapt and help our babies is the best way we can. What is that, Diane tea or Dana tea? You gotta give me the ingredients to that. What is that? So I have resources. I've provided a great place to live. I have a doctoral degree in psychology. All of that didn't matter. That is something I still have to deal with. And I had to educate myself. So KGJA Crowns and Conversations is all about educating and empowering. As a parent that deals with night terrors, there is no real resources out there. There is no support groups. I will be pinning it to my community wall, the night terror support group. I forgot to do it before I went live, but I've created a night terror support group for parents, caregivers that's frustrated, that need an outlet, that may need some guidance, may need some encouragement, or whatever the case might be. Because no one has gotten anywhere without the help of somebody. People are so quick to judge and don't know what the hell you're going through. Question time. Some of you guys are new to the channel. Some of you guys are not. Looking at me, do you guys would have thought or think that I deal with a child or children with night terrors? Oh, okay. Okay. Is it something you make or something you got to buy? Would you have thought I deal with a child or children with night terrors? So, before I close, I want to give a parent, caregiver, or parents encouragement. I want you to hold your head up. It's not your fault. I also don't want you to feel sorry for yourself, thinking that it was something that you could have done to prevent it. Your child or children needs to see you at your strongest point. Because, see, remember, they pull from you their strength. If they see fear, frustration, guilt in your eyes, they're going to feel the same. It's going to make them not want to sleep at all because they're concerned about putting you through any stress or frustration. So us as parents, we have to check our behavior, our demeanor, what we go through in front of the eyes of our children. So if you got to scream, cry, kick, Don't allow them to see it. I know you guys have heard of the story, fake it till you make it, or the term fake it till you make it. In front of your children, you got to fake it till you make it. Because again, they are pulling strength from you. Also, I want to add, children with night terrors, you want to be really, really careful on sleepovers. You want to be real careful with that, because sometimes children can be very cruel, and you don't want them to be subjected rather to unwarranted cruelty. Also, if they are somewhere that they're not comfortable, they're not going to sleep at all. So children with night terrors, you have to be real careful where you take them. If they say it's somewhere that they don't want to go, do not take them there to sleep, because they're not going to sleep at all. And if they're not going to sleep, you're not going to sleep. So if they tell you they don't feel comfortable at their uncle, sister, brother, cousin, wherever, don't go. And parents, if you're a single parent and you're not married, whether you're father or mother, it's going to affect your dating life. Because sometimes the only place they feel comfortable sleeping is in your bed. Especially if they are in a period where the night terrors are really, really bad on them. When they may have went through trauma, something has happened, they're most comfortable under you. So it's very important, if you're a single parent, that you're with someone that understands that respects that, that's able to be an outlet and not complain about when you don't have time to spend time with them because you're dealing with your child that's going through their night terror episodes. You can't be with anybody selfish or self-seeking. And that's whether you a mother or father. You have to have someone understanding and supportive, where when you sleep, y'all take turns. Okay, you go to sleep, and I'm going to watch the child or the children, and then vice versa. Y'all have to be a team. And if you don't have that, you got to, if you're not one of them parents that don't put your child first, then you might want to dismiss your partner, because it's going to put a serious strain on your relationship. So for me, I can't be with anyone that's not understanding of my situation. Period. Once you come to terms with that, you'll be okay. But remember what I said, no matter what your status is or your education, is not going to prepare you. So I had to relearn. I had to go through the behavior cognitive therapy training. Well, when certain behavior comes, I'm trained to know how to deal with it. I had to learn patience, soft redirection. Yelling at a child with night terrors is going to scare them. They scare very easily too. I need to make sure I add there. They frighten very easily because they're already living in a state of terror. You cannot be yelling at these babies that are already in fear. So your tone matters. Redirecting them with the right tone is important. For an example, you start yelling and screaming at them, they're going to get into a panic mode. Also, children with night terrors also deal with anxiety because they're in constant fear. So, I asked you guys, if you're new to the channel or you're regular, would you have thought that I was someone that is dealing with a child with night terrors or children with night terrors? Put your answer in the comments. Do you think that I will be dealing with a child or children with night terrors? Protect Your Peace says no. Anybody else? Do you think that I will be dealing with a child with night terrors? Remember, guys, looks are deceiving. Looks are very deceiving. So, oh, by the way, shout out to Smack Gloss. This is Smack Gloss. My 9-year-old makes it. Color. Have my lips popping. It gives you just a little color. Give you a little color, but it have your lips cute. You want to keep it cute always. So, KGJA Smack Gloss. Get you some. Protect Your Peace says no. Dakota says yes. But of course, yes, she did know because it's been a couple of times she has been a bridge. Protect Your Peace as well, and a couple of you guys that's on here. Without going into full disclosure details, I am a mother that deals with a child that has night terrors, rather. It is days where I only get 3 to 4 hours of sleep. It is times when I don't know if I'm coming or going. But I don't want you to be discouraged because your children can have a normal life. They could be smart, very gifted. So it's not a death sentence. So stay encouraged. It is times where all I can do is just cry. That's why it was important that I make sure I surround myself around people that can be a blessing instead of a curse. I'm a single mother. I work a full-time job. I'm an operational manager. I run multiple businesses, and in the process of starting a new business, I'm also back in med school to get my required credit hours to become something I've worked my behind off to become. And that's to get certified in pediatrics, just in case people was kind of wondering. Sometimes it's hard to even focus. So my prayer life has to be heavy. I have no support from her father, but I manage. So I want you to be, and I shared that little bit of information with a parent out there that may not know how they're going to get through it. My plate is full. But I thank God for placing her in my womb and allowing me to be my child's mother. Because whatever I have to do to make sure that my child is okay, I'm going to do it. If it's classes I need to take, if it's cognitive behavior courses I need to take, sign me up. And although sometimes I'm tired out of my mind, I love being my child's parent. I went through the blaming myself period. I went through what could I have done differently. I went through the shame, the guilt of people knowing what she goes through. God did not save me from the brinks of death on 3 or 4 occasions to shut my mouth up. I allow God to use me as a vessel to be a blessing to someone. And if this live encourages one parent, I have done my job. I decided to do this live because of the resources just not there. And a lot of times people mistake nightmares for night terrors. And they're not the same thing. And we got to go get our babies some help. And see, this community, the Black community, unfortunately, there is a stigma on going to seek help. We got to get away from that. If you need some help to get through your day, go and get it so you can be the best version of you for people that depend on you and for yourself first and foremost. If your children are struggling in whatever area that they are struggling in, it is your job to go get them some help so they can be the best version that they can be. And that doesn't mean it's something that may live with them for the rest of their life, but then it may be. But once you educate yourself enough and build yourself up to where you need to be, you'll be able to educate them just in case they have children that may be suffering as well. We have to stop as a community of allowing ourselves to put parenting second. See, a lot of people would rather club, shake their ass, be half dressed, chase men or women, and their children come second. Well, see, for me, my child gonna always come first. No job, no man, no habits, no anything will come before me being what I need to be for my little lady. Period. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to do for our children? We have to ask ourselves, is learning how to help them important? Watching a child with night terrors is the most humbling and most scariest and the most uncomfortable thing you can watch. Because again, it's nothing you can do but to comfort them. You can't try to hurry up and wake them up. It's nothing you can do but to comfort them until they come out of it. It make you feel helpless as a parent. So see, if you parenting like you supposed to, when you're dealing with a child with mental health issues, night terrors, whatever your child may need extra help with, you ain't got no time with no foolishness. The only time you have is to make sure that you the best version of you, so you can be the best version that you need to be to your seed or seeds. Because as I said, sometimes the strongest person is in the house is the most exhausted. So I say this to you. I challenge all of you guys out there that may be watching or catch the replay. If you know someone that is dealing with a child or children with night terrors, ask yourself, what have you done to be that support for that parent? Have you asked that parent, are they okay? How are they holding up? Have you asked them, do that child need anything? Have you, if you're in the same state, have you asked them, do you need them to help watch the child while you get a little sleep? Have you volunteered to go to the grocery store, pick up a few things? If your answer is no, you have failed them. You have failed the child. But it's not too late. Long as you got breath in your body, it's not too late. You need to get to it. Because with a parent that's going through that, the smallest things help. And sometimes as a parent, you don't want to tell everybody your child's business, because most people ain't going to do nothing but judge and run their mouth and go tell everybody about something they think they know and don't be knowing shit. Or make up lies. Or gossip. So everybody ain't meant to be a helper. You would rather some people stay far, far away from you and your child. Because instead of making things better, they're going to make it worse. And if that person is not a patient person, you definitely don't want them around your child. Because they're going to be hollering and screaming and being judgmental. So I hope this live has really helped someone, parent out there, bless someone, encourage someone to get their child to the doctor if they're exhibiting any of the characteristics of night terrors that I've went over. I hope that my journey through it, the brief journey I've shared with you guys, have encouraged you to seek help. Again, night terrors knows no color. It can happen to a child of any pigmentation. It can happen to a child of any social status of their parents. And so we have to educate ourselves. I will be pinning the group for night terrors, and I will be making sure that I bring awareness to this, so I can help as many parents as I can. So this is Kim with KGJA Crowns and Conversations. Real talk, real help, real hope. If this conversation helped you, make sure y'all share it. Y'all, I'm trying to build the channel back in the algorithm. Someone in your village may need it tonight. Until next time, protect your peace, support your village, and keep your crown on. Or if someone needs their crown fixed, help them fix it. You have a blessed night as well. Protect your peace. Everyone that's watching, thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a blessed night. I will talk to you guys soon. Be blessed. Don't you wish that your accessories was hot like us? Don't you wish that you was a queen of bling? Don't ya?
Don't ya? Don't ya? Don't ya?
If you want our accessories, dial 318-780-7586 and you will get the bling
Of ring.